Hello, Mark.
Hello, Drew. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm in much better spirits than perhaps I was last week.
Excellent.
I'm in higher spirits. It's good. How are you, Mark?
I'm great, yes.
Do you want to start with me this week?
Yeah, let's go with you.
Well, this week, what have I been up to? Well, I went to, on the weekend, as people who follow us on Instagram will know, I went to the Exeter Card Show.
Yes.
For Pokemon cards. It was at Sandy Park, which is our local arena, stadium.
Rugby stadium.
Rugby stadium.
Yes.
I think they do other things as well, but I think it was mainly rugby.
Chiefs, not Indian.
Not Indian now. They've
Not
changed
Indian.
that. Yeah.
It's Celtic kind of chief.
Celtic chief.
Yes.
Good. I mean, it makes more sense.
It makes more sense.
It does make
for
more sense.
For the Devonshire.
Southwest of England.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so I went
Moving
to this.
on.
I went there. We got there at something like 10:30. We're in the queue, and we go into like a mini convention hall, I guess you'd say. And I'd say there was about 30 different stands full of cards, full of loads of.
At a card collector's fair.
There
were a ton of cards.
It was all Pokemon, so it was mainly Pokemon. So it was mainly Pokemon.
Okay.
There was a few vendors that did baseball cards.
Yeah.
I saw Yu-Gi-Oh! I saw One Piece. I saw some like Gundam stuff.
Ooh,
so it was a little bit of variety, but it was mainly Pokemon.
Skibidi Toilet?
No, I didn't see any Skibidi Toilet.
It's Italian brain rot.
I didn't see much Italian brain rot. I don't think it's got the value yet. It hasn't held the value.
I don't think it would. Well, no, there's a film coming. No, not Italian brain rot. Sorry, that's Skibidi Toilet.
Skibidi Toilet film. But I think there will be value to it in like 20 years. That's not tough. There will be.
No.
You watch. You absolutely watch.
That'll be rotting
It'll
in
be
a landfill.
because people love obscure crap. No, okay, so you know there was the NES or the SNES.
Yeah.
E.T. video game.
Yes.
And it never sold.
It didn't sell.
It didn't sell, so they put it in landfill,
yes.
right? It became one of the most valuable games because no one ever bought it. So if you want to have the full SNES collection, you've got to go over to the landfill and get you one, or you've got to buy it. Do you know what I mean?
I played it.
Yeah, it's crap.
It is absolutely awful. I remember it was my cousin had an Atari. I used to go around his house quite frequently, and one of my highlights was being able to play his Atari, and it was great. There were some fantastic games, but every time I went there, I tried again to play this E.T. because I felt like it was me. That's the thing that annoys me now looking back as an adult. I thought I was just doing something wrong. Not that the game was...
crap.
The idea that something could be produced and sold for, in my mind, lots of money...
And be bad.
Yeah. It just didn't make any sense.
No, I get
so,
that.
yeah, the idea... I mean, didn't they dig it up as well and find...
People did dig it up. They found where they buried them, dug them up and restored them. But that's not the point. So that's why I think Italian brain rot cards will be worth money. Boom. Go back to convention.
There'll be landfill and you'll have to dig them up.
Well, I've got a few packs. I have got a few packs. Keeping them. They're only £1 email. I'm not splashing out.
Fine.
So, yes. Anyway, so the card convention, we get there.
Yeah.
And Jess and I have brought some binders. I have the trade binder in hand, gripping it. You can see it in the photos. And we go around. And I don't actually have any idea of what cards I want. Jess has very clearly got ideas of what cards she wants.
Yeah.
So she's like, I like a hawk, and she knows value. So she's like, that's not worth it. That's a bit expensive. And that's, she's doing all the numbers, and like, it's quite crazy. She'd make it
like Rain Man.
Which is more like a mob boss. To be honest, I was describing it to another friend like, she's like a mob boss. This is crazy.
You're going to give me a good deal on the card. Well, come on, you're going to give me you're
literally like that. And she'd be like,
you insult me with your price.
Yeah, literally. She'd be like looking at me like, it's not worth, Drew. And like that kind of stuff. And I was just like, whoa, all right. She got serious.
Yeah, she got serious, very serious.
So that we do a little walking around scouting. It's a little overwhelming because there's a lot of cards. There's been 30 years, I think. 30 years of Pokemon cards nearly. So, and they had, the whole range. I saw base set Pokemon card packs available to buy, like £500. So,
whoa.
Right. So,
so some serious
all the way back.
goods there then.
They had, I think, every major card was there that I know of, as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
And they had graded cards there and the nice slabs. But anyway, so we go around, and then I go to one vendor. I forgot it. I should have written down. He was so nice, and I walked up to him as he was doing a deal with some kid, And you know how children can sometimes be kind of selfish. Where
I
they're
know
like
what
they
you
want
mean,
to try and get the best deal. And they're not really conscious of just trying to be nice. They're just trying to get the deal, and try and pull a fast one in their minds. But they're just being a bit of an arse. And this guy was being really good about like dealing with it. He was like probably dealing downwards a bit, on the deals.
Yeah.
But he was like, the kids were clearly happy. The mums were very kind.
Bored?
No, well, they're being friendly. There were lots of adults. It was mainly adults. There's a key point to actually. It was mainly adults, as you'd expect. There were some kids who clearly took it very seriously, and their mums escorting them around, and like their mums kind of not really sure, but like just there, and like kind of making sure they didn't do something weird. Yeah, this guy's really good. And so I bought my first 2 cards, which were the Dusklops and the Dusk Noir from Shroud of Fables. So it's like a set of 3 cards.
Right.
And so I've now got all 3 of the set, because I already had one of the set, and they look really nice. Very happy with that. And I just went around some more, and I found a few other cards. I found a set that I really like. I think it's like Radiant. Oh, no, it's not Radiant. It's Vibrant Rares or something like that.
Right.
And there's only 6 cards in that style. And they're like a normal card, but the background's like rainbow. They look really cool. So I found some of those, and just like, you can start collecting it. So I just like start collecting some of them. They're like £2 each, so it's not too bad.
Oh, it's not like you're breaking the bank there.
No, it was breaking the bank. And I bought like 2 or 3 other cards, and I think I totaled like 50 quid, maybe, something like that. So I felt really happy. I didn't spend loads of money. It was a great time. The community just felt great. There's a good energy in the community. It felt like that, and I just had a lot of fun. And I didn't speak to many people because I'm not very good in those kind of environments, but my friends and Jess spoke to a few people. It just felt really good, and it was clearly a strong community. Like, they announced they're going to do it next year as well. It was just fantastic, and it felt like being part of a hobby, because Pokemon collecting cards is not like a hobby you kind of interact with people externally as much. So it was good to go somewhere and do the external interaction-y stuff. Yeah. And talk to people about cards and and they actually know what you're freaking talking about, rather than just like you and just like,
it's another weird-looking creature, right? Yeah.
But no, I had a great time with that. What else I've been doing this week? I did some more 3D printing stuff. Mm-hmm. Resin 3D printing on my Trench Crusade. I'm getting there so slow. I've got like 1 more model to print, and I'll be so happy when it's done. It's like the hardest model to print as well now. But it's kind of all my fault, because I did some mods to it, and it made it really delicate. So like, I'm just finessing it into like get it all perfectly printed. But apart from that, I don't think I've actually done that much this week. It's been for the listeners, it's been a short time since we last saw each other. But yes, no, I haven't actually really done that much since, to be honest. So yeah, not a big week. I think it's been improvement of mental health, I imagine, has been my thing really. Yeah.
Because last time I spoke, you said something vague about somebody, a friend.
Just having some rough times. Yeah. But I think I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm feeling ready for the next week. Where I was meant to have this week coming, which is just the end. But this week coming, I was meant to have like 3 or 4 board games over like the next from Thursday to Sunday. Yeah. So a few of those have been cancelled just because of a few things, but I might get a few of them in. It'd be really good to do. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of months. It's gonna be very busy, so I'm probably quite actually grateful that there's a little bit of rest in here. So yeah, I mean, what about you, Mark? What have you been?
Well, I've done a lot of driving recently for taking children to different places, and I have focused a lot on listening to Mogwai. I know I've banged on about them a lot, but they've had a new album out for a while. I don't know if I remember. I told you about me. I've booked tickets to go and see their latest tour. They're coming to Exeter. They're playing at the university.
I take it still available.
Yeah, I believe so. They keep being advertised at me, but I haven't followed the link through. But
I might check. If you give me some dates, I'll go check it out. I'll see if I might go with you. We can talk about it.
That would be really cool. But their latest album is called. Hold on a minute, I've completely forgotten it. But hold music. Bad Fire. There you go. And it came out in January at the beginning of this year. But I listened to a couple of songs from it, and I never got back to just sitting down and properly giving it a good listen to. And I was quite enjoying it. It's slightly more upbeat, some of the tracks, I'd say. Definitely trying different sounds in there, but it's the same vibe a lot of the time.
But a bit more experimental.
But I've been really enjoying that, and I've got a playlist. So I've really been probably overplaying it, which is probably a risk that you can do that with music.
It is a risk. I do that a lot, especially if I find, especially with music, I can go through like valleys of like nothing new.
Yeah.
Or like one good song. The danger is when there's just one good song in like a month that's good and new, because that's all I'm listening to.
Yeah.
And that's rude. But if there's like, sometimes there'll be like a week where like 7 or 8 great songs come out at the same time. And that's great, because I can just circulate those 7 or 8 songs. It's beautiful. But when that one song comes out and I'm just overplaying it, and then like by the end of the week I'm like, oh, I'm sick of this. It's a great song, but I'm sick of it. Yeah, no, I get that. So you just playing it in the car with your family, and you just
I do when it's my youngest daughter, I can get away with it. But what's interesting is listening to when she makes a comment, because some of these, they're playing around with, what is normal music or considered normal, especially to a 8-year-old child. She does go, "What was this? What? Why is it? Why are they doing that? Oh, is this a song?" I said, there was a conversation which was along the lines of, is this a tune or is it a song? I was like, what?
Whoa.
What
Kids do so profound things that I've heard.
I said, what do you mean? He said, well, and it took me a while to get out of her that she meant, because there was no lyrics. How can it be a song? It must be a tune.
It must be a tune.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so I thought, okay, yeah, I suppose in that way, yeah, it is. But
by that definition, yeah.
By that point, she's lost interest. So it's not like you get a good back and forth.
Deep analysis on that.
What else? I have also been I finished that Predator Killer of Killers.
Oh yes, the animated series.
Yeah, and I think I enjoyed it. I think I liked the animation style. It felt almost like it was solid at sometimes, like it was claymation or something more physical. Mm-hmm. I think my main criticism of it is the problem with the Predator series as a whole, which is they are a higher technology society than us that are dedicated to hunting. That's their vibe. Yeah. And that's how they prove themselves and their worth in their society. I'm on board with that. Now, they keep coming to Earth, and one lone person ends up finding a way of besting them. And I'm not saying that's impossible, but now we've got several films where one person ends up finally defeating the Predator. I
think that's kind of the point, though, in a sense. I get that, like, there's been many films on this idea that someone of lower technology has defeated... I enjoy them, though, because there's the underdog fight. But like,
that's the thing.
You're seeing all the ones... Maybe there needs to be a film where like a predator turns up to like Victorian England in his Jack the Ripper and just murders people.
Yeah.
There's no one's going to stop them, because there's no one around who's like a super warrior or like just really good and good warrior. So they just go around and murder people and just walk and they go off.
You have that one warrior, but right at the end they get obliterated.
Yeah. I don't think it wouldn't be a fulfilling film.
But that's the thing that's a... Oh, that's why I can see each one individually and go, yeah, that's fine in that situation. But when you look at the track record of the Predator in that, with all the films and now cartoon, is you go, oh, they're not as frightening as they should be, because you just learn the rules and how to do. All I've got to do is put on some mud and hide. I'll be fine. But it's also then seeing the protagonists of each story having to learn that. Yeah, learn that
thing
way
to get through.
And then I start, especially with this Killer of Killers, because they end up... There's basically 3 different characters that you see: a Viking, a samurai warrior, and a World War II pilot. And you see them defeat a predator, and then they wake up on this mysterious vehicle, inside a mysterious vehicle being transported somewhere, and then it's revealed that they've been taken to a arena on, I'm assuming the predator's planet, and they're basically told through translators that they're congratulated for being successful, best of their world and time, but now it is you've been brought here. You've got to fight each other until only one of you stands. Then you'll fight me, and it's the leader of the predators. And it's that whole thing of what is the structure of this society now? Is that you just keep killing everything you come across on a planet, but if they kill one of you, you've got to bring them back there and just annihilate them.
What happens if they kill you, the king of the predators?
Yeah, do they become the king?
Or does someone else turn up to then try and become king?
Yeah.
And you just got to keep killing all of their society.
And what the events of it are is that they basically team up, these three people. After a while, they team up and they manage to escape.
Yeah.
Two of them do. One of them sacrifices themselves to the thing. And then you see their spaceship flying up. They're in a spaceship. They're flying off. And then hundreds of predator ships suddenly launch up and go after them. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. They've bested you. By your rules, you should let them go and go, good on you.
Yeah, it's about honour, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's like a coward thing in a sense. But like at the same time...
It's not even that. It's
like, not really coward if you're trying to escape.
Yeah,
I agree.
You've been put in this artificial situation where you are up against things that have more awareness of the technology that they're using and how to use these weapons. At any moment, they could just use one of their lasers and just shoot these people.
That is true.
What? It's like the rules have gone now, and if actually it goes back to the original Predator, is sour grapes, because if you remember in Predator, Arnie's the last one, goes up against a Predator, manages to best him. The Predator's lying there bleeding out, and he goes on his arm and sets a self-destruct thing that launches, emits a nuclear weapon. And it's just like, so that's sour, is it? That's sour grapes. This guy's bested. You've gone up against all these guys, and one of them finally defeats you, and you go, no, well, you're going to die with me.
Yeah. Well,
where's the honour there?
Perhaps that's their society. Is it's like everyone's just scumbags.
Good on. Change it to from Predator to Scumbags.
Yeah.
Have you seen the latest Scumbag movie?
It would be very different. Well, I know what you mean. I know what you mean to our context. It feels annoying. But maybe that's what they're trying to make out is that... But I agree. It depends how you interpret what the people making it interpreted. But
you go back to Predator 2, and at the end, Danny Glover's character, he defeats his Predator on board the Predator ship. And, he's just about defeated them, and he's like, you can see he's just beaten himself, and he's done it. He's killed this Predator, and then that suddenly I think it's three Predators just suddenly turn up. Their invisibility cloak comes off or whatever.
Yeah,
and they stand there and they give him an ancient gun, an old flintlock gun. Hand it over to him, and then he's got the chance to get off the ship before they go flying off.
I guess the rules are just different, right? At different points. I don't know.
I mean, at the same time, I imagine if you were to look at hunters on planet Earth that go and hunt, deer and stuff like that, or get caught up with a fight with a bear or something ridiculous, or maybe through humans' history, going up against tigers and stuff like that. You probably got some guys that would go, yeah, I'll let it go because it gave me a good beating, but I'll let it go. Or there'll be one that's gone, no, I'm going to use all the weapons I've got and destroy that creature because it scarred my face or something.
It bested me. Yeah, some people be like, it bested me, fair enough. And some people, maybe that is it.
Yeah.
Maybe showing the individualism of the predators.
Of the scumbags. Of the scumbag.
No, I get it. I totally get it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though.
No, I did enjoy it. Like I said, it's got nice animation style. It was interesting to have the one where it was it was World War II pilots fighting against a scumbag ship.
Scumbag ship, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been watching anything else? Or?
Yes, I went last night to the pictures.
Did you see Running Man?
Yeah, I saw Running Man.
I really want to see that.
I did invite you, but you were going to be tired. Well, I am the scumbag. Well, I don't have any other time, and I really wanted to see it.
That's fair enough.
I'm mean, but
oh gosh, tell me how it is. Go on.
It's really good.
It's
really good.
Okay.
It's a.
Is it like how the Blade Runner 1 is to Blade Runner 2?
No, it's not. It's not in that kind of thing. It's a duplicate of the plot.
Yeah.
In the sense of what's happening. But this guy has a family that he wants to. His daughter's got the flu, and he needs to get medication for it. There's a lot more parallels to the horrificness of American society at the moment.
Right, yeah, okay.
The idea that there are meds available, but they cost a lot of money. So you've got to work, you've got to get money, and he's he's worked really hard in different jobs, but he's been a bit more of a kind of union guy, and it got him fired for sticking his neck out, basically.
Yeah.
And he's in a position where he's desperate to get this medicine for his daughter so can keep breathing and stuff like that. And he doesn't go on the Running Man. There's loads of game shows at this network that they have, which one of them's like a hamster wheel. You get put on a hamster wheel and you've got to basically keep running whilst answering questions. If you get a question wrong, the wheel goes faster.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that, and it's jokingly in this, it's the guy's quite a fat guy, and it was obviously not going to last, and he ends up dying because he falls off of this wheel, and it's kind of black humour.
It's one of those things where it's like because what they do really well is in those shows, it's like, oh, it's funny, and like, but you don't, because you're like, it's like a joke TV show. He couldn't have possibly actually died. Like, you don't actually think they actually die because it's a show, and like, but of course they actually are dying. And, like, when you think about it for more than a second, you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually real death.
Yeah, and but then but basically they go, because he's quite skilled because of the jobs he's had and stuff like that, and he's quite angry as a man. They think he's they get him to do the Running Man, and he's taken to the executive of the network, who basically is. Manages to convince him, this is, you got to do this for your daughter, and he says, think about it this way, if you make it a week, you're going to be in the top 6% of the country in terms of wealth. That's kind of prize money, so he ends up doing it, and he does pretty well to begin with, and then builds up kind of like an underground following as he goes by, and it. I won't go into too much for you, out of politeness.
That's very kind.
In comparing it to the Arnie one, it's slightly more serious.
Okay.
But it's still at the same time still fun and witty. The guy's quite the Glenn Powell, who's the main character. He is he's not necessarily like one-liners, but he's got a witty comeback a lot of the time.
All the little quips and stuff. Yeah, okay.
And funny things happen. And there is a kind of satirical kind of humour to it as well. The way that the world is set up and the way it's shown, which is really good. And I would definitely recommend watching it. It's definitely on. I would say it's on par with the Arnie one.
Okay.
They just do slightly different things. Because it's an 80s action movie. It's the original Running Man is quite quippy. I watched a playlist of all the things that Arnie says, and they're really quite bad. Actually, they could have been.
But that's classic Arnie vibes, isn't it? Is say things that are like just a bit not off, but like a bit like static or like stilted.
Yeah, it's almost like everything has to stop. Arnie says the one-liner, and then the action continues. It's just, oh god,
I know what you mean. I might go watch it. I haven't seen Snake in the Cinema in forever. It feels like. So I'm going to see that. There's actually a few films coming because there's the Running Man, there's the new Predator film, which I've been on the bench about, but one of my friends wants to go see it, so I'm like,
I want to go and see that as well if I can.
Wicked for Good.
Well, I still haven't seen Wicked.
No, I haven't seen Wicked either. I feel like I had to watch, but it's a sensation. I feel like I should watch it for the.
Well, Frankie's my youngest is noticed Wicked for Good. She didn't notice Wicked, but she's noticed Wicked for Good. I'm like, you have to see the first one first, so we're gonna have to try and do that, I think, at some point.
That shan't be hard. But okay.
Well, especially over, we're turning into the Christmas period, basically.
Yeah.
Even though it's mid-November.
Yeah. It's still mid-November.
Drew just checked his computer.
I was like, is it late November?
No, it's mid-November. Well, 18th.
No, it's mid.
It's past the mid.
It's mid, still. As arranged, it's mid.
All right. God, calendar Nazi.
Whoa. Yeah. All right. Whatever.
Okay. So, shall we move on to the main topic?
I was going to talk about one more thing. No, that's fine. That's fine. I did think about it.
Well, no, because you had your slot, actually.
Oh, whoa. All right.
God.
Sheesh. No. I listened to, talking about music, I listened to Lily Allen's new album.
Yes. Why I Hate David
I forgot
Harbour.
David Harbour. To be fair, no, it's really good.
Is there any angry songs?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, Absolutely. No, it's really good. I think it's called, the whole album's called West End Girl, I think. And it's, I think,
Boys.
I think
you didn't get the Pet
No,
Shop Boys. No, not a Pet. No, okay, fine.
no. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm not 105.
You're not that old. Probably
No.
like 104.
Thanks for the year.
Anyway, getting back to my point, Mark.
Oh God, if you just hurry up, Drew.
God, it makes my train of thought so easy. This is like when I talk to Isaac at work and he says hello and I'm already distracted by whatever he was actually going to say. Whatever he was going to say,
you
I
distracted
stopped.
me at hello.
I should use that. If, God forbid, the worst happened and I was out having to date again, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say, you distracted me. Hello. Oh, what a treat. I'm going to get zero game.
Well, it's
going to get me
nowhere. For your sake, I hope things stay really nice.
Me
with
too.
Jess,
I really
that's
hope so
going to
too.
be that's
That
going
would
to be a disaster.
God knows how me and Jess got together.
I bet she did the heavy lifting.
I bet she did.
Were you?
Probably oblivious to it.
Were
I was
you
probably
there?
oblivious. I was probably oblivious to all the eye rolls and sighs that Jess made over the whole time.
Oh God.
Back
to Lily Allen
and her divorce. Oh God. Anyway, see, the whole album is really good. It kind of covers her marriage and like the different stage of her marriage, and then like through to divorce, and the end of it kind of tails off a bit, and it's a bit sad, and I guess it's like the reflection on everything. There's a lot of good songs, and there's a lot of like through the songs there's a lot of themes. So there's like, I think there's a girl called Danielle that the guy has an affair with, but like there's a song called Danielle, I think it's Danielle or something, Delilah, something like that. I forgot the actual name. Am I gonna look it up? Yep, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
This is gonna make me upset if I don't get it right. Madeline. It's Madeline. So
Madeline.
But 3 songs prior, Madeline is brought up towards the end of the song.
Yeah.
They're just talking about like, you don't talk to me loads, and like I looked at your phone and like, and it like ends with like, who's this Madeline? And the next song's about like, I think you're like doing some other stuff, and like, you know, I think they have an open marriage. They do have an open marriage. It's very clear they do. But there's like some early like it's about rule setting stuff, and there's a whole song literally called Madeline, where it's, you know, you can feel the ramp up of like, who is this woman? You know, oh, she nothing. Oh, and then like the whole like the crescendo of that, and then like the rest of the album's basically about her exposing him and like finding out all his dirty shit. It's just really good. It's a really good album, and I haven't seen an album tell a story so well in 45 minutes, but also have great music right the whole way through, which I thoroughly appreciated.
It does make me a bit more concerned about the season 5 of Stranger Things. Is David Harbour going to deal with his issues with the relationship through Stranger Things?
Woof.
Is he going to tell his side of the story through the medium of Stranger Things? It could be interesting. I mean, you know, the
mouth guys.
Mouth guys, are they going to be drawn a little bit to look like Lily Allen? I don't know.
It would be interesting to see. No, I think we'll just have to find out, won't we?
Are you looking forward to Stranger Things on that time?
Yeah, I think I am. The reason I am is because I think the first season came out just before the end of uni for me, or just after the end of uni. Yeah, it was a while ago, right? It was a long ass time ago, and
it doesn't feel like it to me. And now you're saying that came out at the end of your university time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only been out of university like 6 years.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, so the point. Okay, it came out a long time ago.
Yeah, it came out a long time ago.
Brown was very young. She's like married now.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but I've seen at least 2 YouTube videos that are trying to riff on the idea of the cast of them of Stranger Things being adults trying to pretend to be teenagers.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So that, yeah.
Well, the next season I think is a jump in time forward.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the idea, so that they don't have to do all this pretending they're children still and they're adults. But I I was there early, and everyone, when the first season came out, everyone said it was great. And then second season came out as a bit of a flop, and third season came back and like really brought it back.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, it's not just like a sequel; it's like actually tried to, And the fourth season, I think, was just as good. And so I think just to have that closure at the end of, I think it'll be one of those box sets that people look back at and be like, solid.
Yeah.
At the end of it, how like people, I think people see
if they can close
things
it properly. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's very few, but there are a few seasons that are solid, done.
Yeah.
That's the box of it. Great. We're over.
Yeah. My main concern is that I know full well I haven't got time to rewatch it all.
No.
To be able to
last season, like the last 3 episodes are like 2 hours long each.
Yeah.
They're like a film each.
Yeah.
They were so good. Me and Jess watched all of them one night. It was 2 a.m, but it was so good. And like I'm hoping we could recapture that in this new season because it was phenomenal. I loved the end of last season.
Hype.
It was so good. Just when you get to that stage in the night and you look at the time, you're like, oh, it's 11. Do we risk the next episode?
Yeah.
And it was one of the few seasons that me just went, yeah, we'll risk it. And knowing full well it's like 2 hours. So yeah, no, I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So that concludes Lily Allen.
That concludes Lily Allen.
I think you should have listened to it. I think you might enjoy some of it, not all of it. It's pretty raw. People say it's pretty raw.
Is she still doing that kind of Cockney kind of...
A little bit out.
Yeah.
A little bit. Well, there's the whole point of like West End. Well, I think she gets a role in a play, and that's why it's called West End Girl.
Okay. Because
she comes in the West End, whatever.
Okay.
That's the first song. And it talks about how he's the harp or whatever his name is a bit odd. It starts with him like, it's a bit of an odd guy, actually. And then it goes through like, he's a piece of shit.
That's a musical to come.
Could you imagine? So yeah. God, we don't have a lot to talk about. I guess we did see each other very recently.
We did see each other very recently. I had a busy weekend. I haven't consumed as much media as I... What not?
No, I know what you mean. I felt very much the same way. I've been watching... just like when I have... Because normally if I try and watch the media, what you've asked, I know I try and sit down and really set some time to it. But if I'm painting a model, so I was doing a little tiny bit of painting when I had some time because I want to relax. I watch a lot of Ben and Tom, which are Yogscast guys, just do some Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really good just to like have some daft Warhammer nonsense in the back because I don't have to focus on it. It's great. I can just be doing my little thing. It's there. Oh, lovely. Do you want to talk about your topic?
Yeah, my topic. It's Firefly.
It's No.
It's Firefly.
You did set me the task of watching the first episode.
I did indeed. So what did you think, first of all?
What did I think?
Yeah,
well,
I mean, that's it's a pilot episode. It's about an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, it's quite long for an episode, like a TV episode.
Yeah.
I felt that. It starts with...
Yeah, that usually is what happens with an episode of television, really. It does start...
I've realised, Mark, I've realised during these conversations I can sometimes be somewhat scatterbrained.
No,
so I'm going to try...
Please,
I'm going to try and give some level of journey to this, to my breakdown.
Okay.
If you will. If you would indulge such an idea.
I will do.
So it ends... So it begins with... It's very grainy footage. It's cleared on analog. I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
It's very grainy. It
that
feels...
Was a purposeful decision.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I will talk about that.
It starts in a trench during a war. And we had the protagonist fighting as like a captain of a squad. And they're like losing the battle. And the main guy's like, any minute now, our team's the Angels, the Valkyrie or whatever, they're going to come in and they're going to sort us out, baby. And everything just goes to shit, And you can see in the main guy's face, everything's just gone horribly wrong, and you can see all the goodwill almost. Goodwill, do you know what I mean? The kind of optimism, the hope.
Yeah.
The hope just drained from him.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to 5 years later. Boom, 5 years later or something. And he's the captain of the Firefly class ship, the Serenity. And when it says class... I thought that meant like a size of ship. But it doesn't mean a size of ship. It's a model. It's a model. Serenity.
Really, yeah.
It's the Firefly model that is called the Serenity. Once I understood that, I was fully on board.
That made you feel better.
It did make me feel a bit better.
It's like your rules, isn't it?
I need a few rules.
When they say class, they mean model. That's fine. I can accept that. I can move on.
No, 100%. So, okay. They are doing some shady business, hijacking from, not the Empire, the Alliance?
The Alliance,
The Alliance, I think that's what they're called, yes. And they steal some cargo, and they get the hell out of Dodge. Real rogue style, very Star Warsy. In how they, they do the operation in space, they get the cargo and they're off, and there's some technical reasons why they can get away and blah 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 blah. There's like some space things, and it has like jamming signals and like we got to walk around because of this tech and blah blah blah. And then they go to the desert planet to go do the trading.
They go to Tatooine and they
go to
Jabba the
Tatooine.
Hutt
Thank you. Yeah, they go to Tatooine. I was hoping you'd pick up on that. They go to Tatooine, Mark. They land their ship. And they go try and get rid of their wares as per the deal with the guy. And it all goes to shit, sort of.
Yeah.
And during this time we meet all the crew. And I think the crew are actually a really good crew.
Yeah.
They actually all feel like, from sometimes in these shows, the crew can feel like there's one or two people who are like background crew. And quite boring. Yeah. But all the crew felt characterful, but not in a way that they didn't feel like a crew. They felt homogenous, but individual, and that felt aces for me. Love that. Anyway, so they get to this planet, and they are presenting themselves as some kind of transport ship on Tatooine, and they load up with people who want to travel. And they've all got their reasons, and it's like a don't ask questions. It's like a little bit of a grey kind of transporty deal. Yeah, it feels like
just
that.
Get me from A to B, and I'll be happy.
Don't ask too many questions. No, don't ask too many questions. So they're all on board. And lo and behold, they've got a troublemaker on board. Could you see that coming? They've also got a priest, which I quite like that. I quite like the priest.
Yeah.
So they're off in space, and it turns out someone's got some sketchy cargo, and they've also got a federal officer from the Alliance.
No.
Oh my goodness.
An undercover Fed.
But luckily, our captain kind of disarms the situation. He doesn't solve it. He disarms it. The Fed is locked up. The guy who's got the unknown cargo, he's interrogated. They find out it's a woman. To be honest, I really enjoyed that. I knew it was going to be a person. I knew straight out there was going to be a person.
Was it Jeffrey Epstein?
No. Wow. Sheesh. Where did that come from?
Sorry. Well, he's got a woman in a box. I don't know.
That's awful. Jesus Christ. That's horrible.
Sorry.
That's fine. It's fine.
We'll move your swiftly
flow there. You did whatever flow I've got. This is still very sporadic. I'm going to be honest. I do apologise. This is still all over the place.
You're doing really well.
I'm having.
It's like I'm watching the show right now.
Can you visualise every scene?
Yeah, I can.
So it's a woman, and it turns out to be the guy's sister, the person who, this rich doctor guy, his sister. He was taken away for experimentation. He stole her back and is now fleeing the Alliance. And the Fed sent off a signal but got away. And then we're travelling to another planet to potentially sell the cargo in a different place instead. I think it's the gist.
I think this is the desert planet, by the way.
There's two desert planets.
No, there wasn't a desert planet.
It's all filmed in California. All they've got is desert.
The first one was like
that was like proper desert. That was dusty desert.
No,
this one's like scrub. Next one's like scrub desert
because they landed in a
spaceport.
There was like a
west.
Yeah, you just watch this and you can't remember the fact that it actually wasn't a desert planet at the beginning.
It was very dusty.
It might have been dusty, but it was not a desert planet.
Yeah, it felt very deserty.
It was a city that they landed in, where they met Badger, their middleman. That's like, I don't want to take your.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I got.
Okay,
whatever.
Then they go to the Wild West desert planet.
They do. They go to the Wild West desert planet. They absolutely. You can tell that because they're all riding horses.
Yes.
But from one guy, he's got a tractor for some reason.
Well, it's the future. They can't just be on horses. They've got to balance it out.
They've got to have a tractor.
If they're just on horses, people are going to think it's a Western. No tractor boy.
Actually, I mean, apart from that whole scene could have just been. And they don't even have space guns. They have slightly fancier revolvers.
I think they're meant to be high tech,
but they're just revolvers.
But they're revolvers. Yeah.
So they get to the planet, and they have a foreshadowing moment with Reavers.
Yeah.
Who are like crazy people on the edge of space who like pillage everything. Yeah. Have a bit of off and on with them.
Cannibalistic as well.
And they seem like they're meant to be like the chaos crazy guys.
Yeah.
You can tell that. Anyway, so we have a little foreshadowing interaction with them. We escape, hide and then run away, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so he gets to this other planet. We do another deal with the Western lady in the Western lands, who's a mayor, but we never see the town.
No.
Sure. Bit of a shootout.
It's all shady.
It's all shady. I think during this point, we find out the captain's got a heart of gold, and he's just a scallywag rogue. It's true, though.
Yeah, it is true. It's absolutely true. Heart of gold.
Heart of gold kind of guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, he doesn't really... He says, I don't really kill for the sake of killing, even though he just murdered, like, 20 guys.
Yeah.
But we accept that because they're all just the grunts, and we don't care. But they were... The main characters all stay alive. It's great. Yeah, so they try to do a deal for all the stuff, and it goes a bit sour, but then he turns it right, sort of. But he, like, upholds his side of the bargain, even though he was kind of cheated a little bit in there, but he gets his...
He does what he can to be an honourable man
anyway.
with a heart of
He gets
gold.
back to the ship, and then has to kill the Fed guy, because the Fed guy's escaped, and is trying to, like, get the Fed people back, the Alliance back to him, so he just, like, yeah, this guy, bang, get him gone. He's being a pain in the ass.
Is that the one when he just comes in and just shoots him straight away? Yeah.
You can see the situation. Like, there's a whole standoff in the ship whilst he's been away, and he's just like, whatever, shoot him, gone. And then the Reavers return, and they're trying, they're having to do some maneuvers with the ship. Love this. Love a bit of maneuver with the ship. Love that kind of vibe. And then the episode kind of ends with the crew kind of going, well, these passengers kind of a vibe, so we'll keep them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be the crew of the Firefly model ship.
Yeah.
You know what? My overall thoughts on the whole thing. I really liked it. I think from the first bit was a little weird. I struggled for the first 10 minutes. There's the battle, and then we're like in the jump, and I think they tried to do a lot of info dump with the like, this is the Alliance, and we're stealing, and this is this, and this is that.
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, what's going on? But very quickly I figured out kind of what's going on. It's a bit of a dump. They do a lot of that classic, like, oh, you're not from round here? Let me explain the most obvious thing in the whole universe kind of thing.
Yeah. A thing you would know by just existing in this universe.
But you're
I
like
will
from
tell you.
your next door, so I've got to tell you just in case you didn't know, kind of that whole thing. They do a bit of that, and I like that. It's fine.
Because the thing is, once it's done, and then you can just carry on.
Yeah.
And everything else you can encounter can be more naturalistic.
Yeah. But overall, I think it's good. Like I said, all the characters felt real good.
Yeah.
The mystery felt great. Why they got this woman. Why has he got the woman? Why are they trying to escape? Why do they want them back? What's this whole roguish outer planets, the moons and stuff? Who are these Reavers? Well,
the priest book, it's like, what's his backstory? He seems to be more than he seems.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got kung fu skills.
Yeah.
No, all that kind of stuff. Everyone feels great. It feels like there's a lot of mystery still. Some of these shows can feel like, I don't see the mystery. I don't see the point. I don't see where this is going. I can see very clearly where things are going to happen. It's going to be just like an episodic adventures with an overtone of some kind of overarching story. I think I'm going to continue watching because it is really good. I'm going to get really sad at the end because I know full well it was only one season, and it's kind of not heartbreaking ending, but it's more like a heartbreaking ending because it didn't go anywhere.
Well, it was 14 episodes. Didn't even make a full season, but they did make a movie, which they gave some closure to some of it, which was good for people like me that were there from the beginning, desperate for more. I'm glad you enjoyed it because it is probably my favourite sci-fi series. The only other one that I would probably fight it off with would be Farscape, which is that Australian show I was talking about with you the other day, which has
with character development, all that.
Really good character development, and also puppets from Jim Henson's workshop. It's fantastic fun. But that's another story.
Yeah.
With Firefly, it was something that I heard about. I used to be. I've always been a sci-fi nerd since I was little, and it was a show that I heard about coming. And even by the time it came over to the UK, it was a done deal. That was going to be the one season. So I managed to get hold of the box set on DVD. I was excited, and I basically chowed through them in very little time. And I was like, the whole purpose of why I wanted to talk about it was this desire to chow down on more of this world and more of these characters, because I felt like I was with them.
Yeah,
That was my
I can-
favourite
I
thing
can see
about it.
that.
I felt like it was this lived-in, realistic world. Fantasies of flying off with these people and just working on this ship and doing jobs and just getting by, but just having
Living the
my
experience with
extended
them.
family, basically.
Yeah, it felt like living the experience.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you're right. So I think it reflected my mind kind of like The Mandalorian season 1,
Yeah.
where it felt like later seasons got a bit funny.
Yeah.
But the early seasons, it felt like we were along for the journey with the
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
definitely.
We're on
Yeah,
his
yeah,
story,
yeah.
and we're just like we could be a sidekick as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
In terms of us as the viewer, like it had that feeling of we're with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got that 100%. That was my point.
And I think a lot of fans probably do this. There was so much potential in terms of what could have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
Just in fact, before I go into that world, just go back a little bit about you were talking about the graininess of it. Basically, Joss Whedon and one of the other creatives, they were being pushed to not do it in widescreen. They wanted to do it in widescreen really badly, and they had a vision for how to film it, and they wanted this kind of naturalistic feel, like almost shaky cam, but not too thing, like a documentary almost.
Okay, yeah.
And that's primarily when you're with the Serenity crew on their ship and around their adventures. But when it came to, if it was about the Alliance, everything became static.
Okay.
And almost like dollies
More
and stuff like that.
cinematic and
More
stuff.
cinematic to try and give this kind of feel. And graininess as a large, they wanted supposedly the cinematographer bought the cheapest lenses possible. Well, not possible, probably, but something that wasn't going to be the quality that you would want for a different kind of film. And so, it was nice that you spotted that kind of thing, and there's
Sunspots and stuff,
like that.
flares.
Sun flares. And it's interesting that the guys that did the spaceship shot, the special effects outside and stuff like that, they went on to do Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, you can see it's got that early style spaceship. Not early style, but in that TV style, there's an era where like ships are like fuzzy, but like they're a little fuzzy around the edges, and it's clear because they can't render them perfectly.
They
so
can't
they look great though. You can tell the story 100%. I'm really happy with that.
And the thing is how they filmed it as well. They use that kind of same technique of documentary. The camera shakes around a little bit, or has to kind of catch up with the ship, or adjust like it's happening there in front of them.
Yeah. They've only got one take at it.
One take of it, and they've done it, and it's we just missed the main part of the
only
action.
shot we got. Yeah, that's it. No, I get that. There's a lot there. It does feel like that, actually, 100% looking back at it.
But it's things like, it's little details like that. It's the world building as well. You've got this world which is a mixture of Western and Chinese kind of
there is definitely
influences
Western.
of that.
It's very Western.
You've got that through the costumes. You've got that through the sets. You've got that through the architectural design that you see through the whole thing. And there was so much of it that just you didn't see. You didn't see a lot of the Alliance, because they were trying to live on the outskirts, on the edges of civilized space. And one of the things I would like to have seen was more of the Alliance and see how their society. Because if you live within the Alliance civilization, you're probably quite happy. You probably got everything you need, and you can't understand why there are these people fighting against it and
on the far reaches,
on the far reaches of it. And there was definitely more stuff there, to see that world being built more substantially. And I'm sure if they had gone to more seasons, more episodes,
we'd have learned more.
We would have seen more of it. And there would have been episodes where they would probably have had to spend more time in an Alliance world, having to deal with things a bit
Well, I have enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I think this shows a lot about the current world we live in compared to when that was filmed. You can tell people have been smart about things. So things like the costumes, right? All of the space people are wearing breeches with straps, right? That feels like a ship, like a naval ship, a water-based ship.
Yeah.
But it's a spaceship. But that costume probably doesn't cost a lot to make. That bit, right? But nowadays they make such elaborate feeling costumes that probably cost thousands and thousands of pounds. because someone said, "Oh, make me a spacey costume."
Yeah.
But they haven't thought about what would feel good in this world, right?
Yeah.
And someone just went, "We'll give them breeches, right, and some boots, and that feels spacey because we'll make the world kind of." They've made smart choices to keep it probably pretty cheap, but it feels like the world. Whereas I feel like a lot of modern shows, but you hear about these ridiculous budgets for things, and it feels like the ridiculous budgets are going. Someone going, "Make me a spacesuit," and they're like, "We're gonna make a fucking crazy spacesuit." And like it's going to cost you 10 grand. It's okay, sure, but like that doesn't help anything. Right? Yeah. That's in the scene for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. But with the crew of the Serenity, they've all got their own individual identity that's represented by the clothing. The fact that both Mal and Zoe, having been in the Independence War, they're both still wearing very militaristic outfits. They're wearing things that they would have probably cobbled together from stuff that they would have had during their war days.
Yeah.
And then you've got Walt Wash, who's like the comic relief character to a certain extent, and he's wearing, a Hawaiian shirt, and it looks lived in.
Yeah, it looks real.
Yeah.
And then, I agree. No, I think it does. It just, like I say, smart decisions have been made. And like, you look at the cockpit, and it's just like some copper pipe that's been painted a bit brown or whatever. But like, it's fine. I don't need that to be super.
But at the same
intense.
time,
the
it
controls
looks like
are
you
enough.
could go in there and you would have an idea of, well, I open that up and I've got access to something that I can fix quickly.
Kind of, yeah. No, 100% on board.
Or I've got to bang that pipe to get it going. And
the sets aren't very complicated. I can feel that. Well, they're not. They're well done. They're not like super advanced. You look at some like behind the scenes sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, we spent hours putting actual wires in this panel because it falls off for 30 seconds." And like, you just paint the wires in. You don't need to put actually, you don't need to actually wire real wires.
But there's so much personality in that.
No, I agree. I think it's great.
You look at their dining room. It's just a lived-in space. It's not a spaceship. If you weren't given context and you were just shown images of that dining room area, that could be anywhere.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it doesn't say I'm in a spaceship. It's just a kitchen with a dining room.
I think it feels a little, it feels a little weird, a little communal. But like, no, I agree.
But they're a crew.
Yeah,
and they have passengers. They have to, and this is a world that's not got fast lights travel. They can go fast, but they can't. So if you want to go from one planet to another, you're like on a sailboat. You've got to get there, and as it's a small cargo ship, if you're passengering with them, you've got your own little cabin, but you're going to have to eat with them. You're going to have to share that space with the crew.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I really enjoyed the set and the world building, and it felt smart, not costly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They built for Serenity set. They built 2 sets basically, the upper deck and the lower deck.
Yeah.
And so it meant, rather than like with a Star Trek show where you've got to kind of cut
through every door.
Every door is a cut to wherever. I mean, there were some. I think they made some stuff that had corridors coming out of it, stuff. But the whole bottom half of the spaceship, Serenity, you could walk in through the hangar door.
Yeah.
Walk through past the surgery area, up a stairs, and into the engine. I think into the engine room. I can't remember the layout.
But it felt real.
Memory.
I agree, it feels real.
And every element of that had that. That it
almost
was all
sitcom,
connected.
like how the layouts of a sitcom studio. Like, when you watch like Big Bang Theory, exactly like the whole layout all the way down the whole place. And like The Office, the exact layout, basically the whole building in some aspects.
Because the Serenity itself becomes a character of the show because it is so well
designed and well thought of. I can feel that they put a lot of effort into the ship, and the design is like, I think it's great because it's a little quirky for a ship, but it's characterful, and I'm here for that. Totally get that. I'm on board for that. The other ships have felt a bit like less characterful that I've seen, but Serenity feels characterful.
Yeah,
so I'm happy about it.
The Alliance ship says something. I don't know if I think there's one scene of it. It's like several giant, really spiky pyramid spires on things. It looks like a completely different kind of show almost.
Yeah.
But but that's why I would really like to explore that side of this world more. It's like how these ships.
You want to go and see the shipbuilding and stuff. You almost want like a video game that's open world. You're like, I want to go see the shipbuilding, right?
Yeah.
I want to go see, what's on that planet. And like, you always want that, but like, it's too fuzzy around the edges. They
don't have enough time. They
just didn't have enough.
14 episodes, and what they do in that time does go about. You do get to see different aspects of it and different sides, but not the whole world, the whole universe, should I say?
It's one of the rare instances, I think, where consumers wanted more, but it never came. Do you know? It's very rare that happens.
I think there was an element that the studio behind it, Fox, weren't 100% behind it. The producers behind it, the bigwigs, they weren't really behind it.
Okay.
And so they were. It was almost like they were looking for an opportunity to say no.
Okay.
When they did the pilot, they did one pilot, which was the one
First
you watched.
episode, yeah.
The next episode was a second pilot.
Oh, okay, really?
The next one's called Train Job, and they had a few requests and stuff. They felt like the Captain Mal Reynolds character was too dark.
Okay, I think you're just about right.
That's how I've always found it strange that was the thing. But if you do look at the second pilot, there is a little bit more of a caper to it.
Okay.
It starts off with a ballroom brawl, and one of the things is I think it might be Mal that gets thrown through a window, but it's not a window; it's a hologram. Okay. So it just goes and then winds up, and they get rescued before they get. Basically, there's a handful of them that get into this fight, and they're on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah,
and it's like they're going to get beaten up properly because the whole bar basically comes out, but then the Serenity ship comes up behind them, hovers there, and they jump on board and they get away, kind of thing. And there's a little bit more of a
it's a bit more to a beat.
A bit more beat. But for me, it's it's one of the reasons I love the show so much is the fact you've got these 9 characters that are so well written. There have been other shows what I like, and you look at the characters and go, "Oh, not a so and so episode," or they're focusing on that. What? Oh God, not a Delana Troy from Star Trek Next Generation. Diana Troy.
Diana of Troy.
Is it
Diana of Troy?
No.
Diana
Troy. Yeah. Every episode with her. Oh right. Oh God. No, please don't bring her mother into it. And then. Yeah, and then get my hate of Loxana Troy. Then she started appearing in other series as well, outside of Next Generation. Oh no more.
People do say. So I was watching some stuff. It was actually the people who are doing the Warhammer chat, and they're talking about a lot that it's better to watch. There's like people make lists of what you should watch.
Yeah,
in Next Generation, they cut a lot of them, and he said like a lot of the comments are like, "We've discovered a species who have dessert first. How will we ever assimilate with this species?" Like that kind of thing. And it's like it's so true. Sometimes they go somewhere and they've got like a minor it's not really a problem. Or they come with some moral dilemma, and it's more about the moral dilemma. And I enjoy this sometimes, but like there is a lot of filler.
Yeah,
I agree. Sometimes like
you've got to get. You're talking 22 episodes approximately per season for Star Trek. That's a lot of stories to get through. And
there are some good ones, but there are also some bad ones.
Even in some of the better seasons, there are still fillers, or something where you can see the potential as the story, but they do it so weirdly that you just.
But yes,
anyway,
this
what was I talking about?
We're talking about how all the episodes are good.
All the episodes are good, and all 9 characters I wanted to know more about. There was so much to them. For example, with Mal, I think. In this case with Mal and Zoe, it's like there's so much more to their backstory. They were both soldiers in this the independence. How did they join? What were their motivations? How did they get to a position where they felt strong enough to fight against the Alliance? And what was their relationship? You get a snippet of it. There's another episode that deals with it a little bit more, but it's more focused on another character in this case. So it's just like, but what was? How did they not end up, together in that way? They seem really close, but she's, with Wash. I keep calling him Walsh for some reason. Wash. And then you've got things with Mal particularly. I'd love to find out what his childhood was like.
Yes, I can
picture, have a backstory where you see him as a child interacting with his father, and then the father comes into the story. Maybe he's still around. Maybe he ended up being Alliance kind of. Who knows?
Did they do any books or anything, or was it just?
There were comic books. I think there might have been adaptations of the film, but that's usually jumping.
It's really sad when a good universe doesn't get expanded to an extent. You don't want to go too far. But.
Yeah, there were comic books, and one of them specifically deals with books. The shepherd, the priest.
Okay.
His backstory, because it is quite an interesting one. Because you've got this guy who's, obviously has some sort of link to the Alliance. Oh, you haven't seen. There's another episode where he gets injured, and they get picked up at some point by or meet up with an Alliance ship, and Shepherd Book says something to one of the
Alliance guys,
and he's taken on board and healed by their medical equipment, and it's like, what's going on here? But of course, the situation ends up them going their separate ways, and no more trouble. It's never gone into, and there's always this talk about he's got the ability to kick ass and shoot guns and stuff, but he chooses not to now. He's looking for solutions without violence, and that's his spiritual side coming through. It's like, where did that come from? What was the causation between him being obviously something with the Alliance in some form? Something negative, possibly. Was there a turning point? Was there some sort of crisis of faith in the Alliance that led to him becoming a priest? Because he realised the Alliance wasn't the right thing, or was it something else? What was going on there? There's references as well to Wash the pilot. He's doing pilot training and stuff like that, and he's such a fun character. It'd be interesting to see. Why did he end up choosing Serenity, this beat up old ship, when he could have got, if he went to pilot training and had proper training, where did he get?
It's interesting, a lot of what you're looking at here is the origin stories of these characters. I would, when I've watched it, I'm like, maybe because I'm only on episode 1.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, I can't wait to go to all the planets and see all the things.
I want to do that too. I mean, I won't go through every character, but I did myself, just thinking about them, of what I would like to know more about them. And it's also the flip side of that. It is, where does that take them? The more you know about their backstory, you might find out more about them.
Yeah,
then it gives you a detail of where they are now. So, as I was saying with Captain Mal, if you see his childhood and his interactions with his parents, what happens if those parents are brought into the now story? What's the relationship there? Well, how does that affect how he is? Do we end up with a whole season where his dad's around?
Yeah,
he becomes a new character. Especially with things like previous Joss Whedon shows like Buffy and Angel, is that you had a lot of cast changes. Not everybody that was there at the beginning was there at the end.
You get changes. Yeah. I think sometimes that is good for.
Yeah, and situations like with Buffy, where Angel was a bad guy to begin with. I think he was.
I can't remember. I think I've seen a bit of it. I haven't seen lots of it.
But then he ends up being on the side of the Scooby Gang towards it. But he makes a change in his life, so he becomes a main character and he's a regular on the show. Imagine that with one of the 9 becoming on board with the Alliance for whatever reason. Does Shepherd Book actually turn out to be a bit of a plant with a
just like to look at the curve operation kind of thing?
Yeah.
No, I agree. No, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, or even River. I mean, there is, like I said, I won't go into the movie too much because it does close off storylines. But I'm talking at this point when the show first came on. The comic books reveal some details about Book. They talk about what happens next after the events of the film, but I'm still in that period in the
show,
early 2000s when it's still a thing. It's still, they could, if the film does really well, they'll bring back the series. It'll be
just the hope for what
could be.
Have you seen The Expanse?
I have seen I've seen the first season.
Yeah,
and I just found it I just wanted it to be a bit faster paced.
I
don't know.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It just, there's some parallels to that where it's space themed.
Yeah.
It explores characters. More so what you want. What I think you did really well is explore the characters and the places.
Yeah.
I think that's what you wanted from Firefly. Is that kind of same, let's go look at the places, let's go see the people, and like really expand on that. I think the expanding on it. Ridiculous. I think that did it really well.
Did you get far part?
I got into season 2.
Yeah.
Of The Expanse. I don't know if you noticed, it was actually based off of D&D. Someone did a D&D, and they wrote down everything.
Because I've read the first book.
Yes, I think that it was a D&D, and then they wrote a book based on that D&D, and you can feel that as you watch it. And I was thinking this about the Firefly. There must be a TTRPG for this, but it feels like a D&D.
There are. Well, it's called a board game, but it's more involved, I think. There's a lot of cards and lots of different things around the board. And the board itself looks like a solar system. So I don't know how it works.
How it plays.
There is also one called Firefly Adventures, which is more figure-based. And it looks like you're going for a skirmish kind of
combat game. I think it lends itself to the idea of, a crew doing adventures. It's of the ilk, right?
Yeah.
And actually for D&D, I keep going around the actual thing. It's only seen one episode, but I've always wanted to do a D&D at some point where it is the crew of a ship.
Yeah.
Because you can do so much with that. And, they've got a base, and the base can, have, this ship, it can have, things happen to it.
Yeah.
The crew can do, they can be off a mission, on a mission. There's so much you can do with it, and you can explore so much further than when you do a normal fantasy-style adventure where, you're limited by how far they can walk, right?
Yeah.
And you're limited to you're not limited to the space, but there's a different vibe, right?
Yeah, you've got infinite space.
And you can do so much more, and you can have, the way that people can interact is just so much different. And I don't like the idea of futuristic, just cities. I like
cyberpunk kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of just the cyberpunk. In terms of an RPG, I think it's hard to do, because I want to explore. If I'm playing a role-playing game, I want to explore. And if I'm just in a city, you can do a bit of exploring, but it's not the same.
Can you do
right?
something you do something with a where it's a murder mystery kind of thing?
You can do. There's a lot of noir, detective style things. That's a bit of a foreshadow, perhaps, for the next one. Yeah, I've been looking. But I think it reminded me of D&Ds, and it made me feel like I'd love to do a D&D like that. We've talked about how we want to do what's it in London? Bridge Command, which is like a virtual spaceship simulator.
But that's going for that Star Trek kind of vibe.
It's Star Trek vibe.
Yeah, which again, I am passionate about Star Trek as well. Is that this felt?
It feels more roguey. It feels more Star Warsy. Does that make sense? Where it's a bit more
definitely. But
bashed together.
But it's also this idea that it's more. When you see Star Trek characters, they are specialists in a particular area, and they're very heavily.
It reminds me of naval Britain, where the ships are they've got a captain who's been desiccated.
Wow,
goodness me, designated by the Admiralty.
Yes,
and the whole structure is so structured, and everyone knows their rank, and they've got an Excel spreadsheet saying, well, if you work 3 years, you can go to this point in the Excel sheet, you can get your level 3 certificate, blah blah blah, all that jazz. It feels like that whole shebang.
And it's never clearly. I missed some episodes. I'm not saying I've seen every episode of Star Trek, but there's never any clear definition of. Yes, fair enough. This is a post-scarcity society. We're not paid to do this job. It's all about our own growth and feeling good about ourselves. But how do you build rank into that kind of system of? I guess you got to
have respect, but I agree.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like Harry Potter, where if you think about it too long, it all falls apart.
Yes.
So just don't think about it too hard. Just accept that some of the solutions have been solved. Some of the problems have been solved, but we're not going to really discuss them because it's a bit hard.
If we go into it too hard, it'll collapse. And But that's going back to that point, the original point, which is with Star Trek crews, they are scientists, they are explorers, they're this kind of people. They've got everything they need to live and exist. Firefly crew, crap.
Just really,
let's get a job because we need some fuel to get to the next planet.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't got much food this week. Oh God, it's dried food again.
Yeah, those kind of adventures lend themselves to more fun and shenanigans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it feels like less serious, more like, not comical, but like, this jovial. You know, things feel more jovial. When it's like the Enterprise, it's all very serious. And, if we don't do this, this will happen, and oh, goodness me. But like, Firefly feels far more like, let's go do the thing.
Yeah, there's one of my favourite episodes, basically details, I think does it play backwards or forwards? No, it plays forwards, but there's cutouts to different periods of history. And it's basically Mal's got to get a part. He's been... The ship has broken down in mid-space, and they've managed to get somebody to get a part for them. And he ends up being the only one left on the ship, because the others have to go and save themselves on one of the shuttles.
Yeah.
But it's basically quite a small narrative, but it's stretched out across the whole episode of him trying to get from where he's been shot. He's got the part, and he's got to get from the front of the ship to the back of the ship to the engine room to fit the part to bring the ship back to life. As he's going through it, he's having all these flashbacks to when he first met each of the crew.
Okay.
And it is brilliant because it brings out so many little details about each of the people. I won't go into
all the interactions, I imagine, as well.
All
how
the interactions, how they interact, how they first meet, what it means to
be part of the ship,
part of the ship, and how they became. Really, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's all about how each person becomes a part of the ship. So obviously that leaves Book and Simon and River out of it, really. But it's one of. I think it's probably my favourite episode of the run, and that's because it's about the characters, it's about the people that inhabit this ship. But it's the world building as well, and there are so many things. I don't think they appear in that episode, but there's this Blue Sun Corporation, and there's these two guys later on that have basically got blue rubber gloves on, and they're searching for Summer, and they're hunting her down.
Okay.
And basically, anybody that interacts with Summer that they come across, they kill. They find out the information they can give them, and then they kill them.
Oh, goodness.
And I think they appear in 2 episodes.
Okay.
In total. They're creepy, they're sinister, they're bad guys, but you don't get to see them interact with the crew, really. I don't think... It's all stuff... They're on the hunt for the crew at this point. They're
like... There's like the end credit kind of scene stuff where it's like...
There's one that's an end credit of them talking to somebody and asking where, what happened next kind of thing, and then them killing that person. And then there's another episode where they're on a heist and these guys are in the same building kind of thing.
Oh, but like real close kind of...
Yeah. Okay. But it never... I think that's... Yeah. But there's so much there, and they're creepy, and there's a really good villain there. But you don't get more of that, and it's like apart from like scenery with Blue Sun Corporation and stuff like that written around, you never see the head honcho or anything like that. You don't see
anything more than that. It's all about that fuzzy edges. Yeah. I think we like I think that's the problem with it. Yeah. From what it sounds like is the fuzzy edges are there. We love that, but maybe it's too much fuzzy edges. We need a bit more. We
need to bring the detail in. We want to get it in focus and see it.
Yeah.
I mean. Then you've got the Alliance itself. They do go to Alliance planets to have heists and stuff, and you see the luxury that the people live, but not in a massive way. And there's another episode where you go on an Alliance ship, but you don't get a huge.
But you don't get an idea. Do you think that's because they didn't have enough budget to do the grandiose bits? You know what I mean?
No, I think it was just they weren't. They didn't. That wasn't ready. Those storylines were later.
They want to build those.
That's
I think a tragic thing to see.
Yeah.
It might have been there.
And then there's lots of stuff about the overall universe itself. There's talk of it being generation ships that came to this verse. The Earth that was, as it's described as, sort of like was too full. It was polluted, and so generation ships were sent out to this universe. Galaxy. And that's why it's populated. That's why there aren't fast and light drives. So if you're going to go somewhere with a generation ship. So there's all these ideas. What happens if a generation ship is late and turns up now when there's a built civilization? How's that integrated? What if the crew of the Firefly are the ones to discover this generation ship.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah. How do you? There's stories there. There's yeah. What else have I missed on my list?
Extensive list. It's a good list.
And just generally, I talked about it a lot of it with Mal and Zoe's war stories and stuff, but there's going to be lots of stories that kind of come off from that. Are there still?
Is there like a war kind of thing going? Is there a resistance still?
Is there a resistance? Yeah, fair enough. The army were defeated, but are there pockets of people that are still fighting in some way? Are there extremes of that? Is it almost on terrorism levels? Do you have a conflict then of Mal and Zoe, maybe one of them wanting to go in more with these people, and the other one going, no, we've moved past that now. I
see what you mean.
Later series, is there a reignition of the war? Does it start up again? Is there enough of the independent folk going, no, we don't want this? And is there another start to that? How did it start in the first place? There's no detail of that. It could start again. But it's world building.
I know what you mean. And it just sounds like it's a great series that was cut short. And it feels like if it was made today, as it was, it would have been renewed like 100 times over.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of great tragedy. I think it's famous. In my mind, there's lots of cultural riffs in it. I think the Big Bang Theory did a whole thing on like how it was cut short, cut down too short. I think there's a few other things in my mind that talk about how it was, cut short so early. It clearly, to a generation, it really upset them because it's so good and there's so much potential that just was never explored. Because if it was just a great series on its own, people would be like, what a great series.
Yeah.
But people are like, it's sad that it didn't get more.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it is because of that world building.
Yeah.
People are like, I wanted to see so much more, but we just couldn't. And I think that's the point, right? Of it being so sad, or the tragedy, or the iconicness of it now, I guess.
And it's like the stuff that does get continued. There's such dross that gets remade again and again that it's like, why?
Well, the thing is, would you, if it was made today, if they said we're going to reboot Firefly, I was just thinking this. Would you be like absolutely yes, or like with the Harry Potter stuff? I think we've talked about it before in this podcast. Would you be like,
It depends who's behind it. It depends who's behind it. Josh Whedon, I think he's had his day.
Okay.
He's got
anything recent that I would know of.
He did. He was the first 2 Avengers movies.
They were great.
Yeah, it's not so much about his output; it's about his personal transgressions.
Okay.
There's a lot of transgressions that have been reported. Nothing. I don't think anything's ever actually stuck or been. It's not like anything's come to
full effect.
Full effect. But there's definitely I think. Again, I don't want to look into it, but the vibe I get is that he's a naughty boy, and
not very good person.
He's not, and therefore he's not getting
the job.
Yeah,
that's sad. Well, it's sad
it
that
is sad,
happened.
but I think it's that thing. You just be a grown up and
just got to accept it.
Yeah,
on that side,
I feel like if somebody was to take it right now, it would be a generically made piece of crap.
You need people who are passionate about it and understand the initial brief.
Yeah.
This is why I think things like this is my main man, Henry Cavill. I think he's a very influential, important person because he is a nerd and he cares about things. Yeah. I think that's what makes him such a good Witcher. Because he is such a good Witcher because he fucking loves Witcher.
Yeah.
And he's so into it. And
you don't
can
think
tell when
Liam
he's being the Witcher
is going to be...
I know, just saw it and it's so mid.
Yeah.
I'd go as far as to say it's bad. And he doesn't look good. It doesn't make any sense. Henry Cavill is clearly the Witcher. Clearly the Witcher. And Liam Hemsworth is just a fucking dude with a white wig. It's so stuck in my mind. But he cared, and that's the reason he left is because they weren't sticking true to the thing, and I think he probably sensed that it just wasn't going in the direction that it's meant to go. So he left, and that he's in charge of the Warhammer stuff because Amazon's doing a bunch of Warhammer stuff, and I'm really hoping because he's involved. It's going to be good because he really cares about Warhammer. And I think I'm in that same vibe of God, I hope it just goes well.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that we're in this kind of era of things of God, I hope it's just good.
Yeah.
like
really desperately hoping that
it's just good.
'Cause, I don't. Stuff of recent, Halo series. What the heck? I couldn't even watch that.
I haven't watched it.
I couldn't finish the first episode.
No, really.
It was just like, I don't know what this is. This could be change the character. You change the file for the bad guys and the good guys. Same actors, same character progression, whatever. It doesn't have to be Halo.
It doesn't have to be. They did do. I don't know if it can't have been fan made. They did they did do a film.
There was a Peter Jackson. No, was it Peter
It's
Jackson?
like a short film or something, and it was a UNNC military training place, and it had it was like a drop site massacre kind of thing, where loads of the Covenant just turned up and started killing people. And Chief just turns up and just starts, and it's more like the war reaches them kind of thing.
That's the bizarre. I think there was some. I think one of those. I don't know if it was that one you're thinking of. There was one that was made to go with the release of one of the games. It might have been 3, and there were other stuff. There's a short that I think I want to say Peter Jackson off memory. Or somebody else. No, it might have been Peter Jackson produced in another direction. Anyway, the point is that there was a short filmed as a taster for a film version.
Okay.
And they built a warthog, and they had it was spectacular. It was very
it's a good universe. It's very cinematic and visually great. And I think there are some good stories in it. It's got that kind of Warhammer vibe in which there's so much going on all around the universe kind of thing that, any story can be told that doesn't affect the main story, blah, blah. There's so many Spartans out there.
Well, yeah. I think even in the games you had the ODST.
Yeah, the ODSTs. You had, Master Chief is the last of the Spartans. That's kind of the whole point. But, if you go to Reach, where it talks about, how they die out, and, that kind of stuff, which I think is just as important in the, story. But, there's still great stories.
Yeah.
So to hear that I haven't seen it. I think it's by Paramount Plus. They clearly it was clearly a strategic move because Paramount Plus wants to make a streaming service. They're like, we need to have something called a streaming service. What IP can we just buy so people are going to watch it? And it just didn't work. Everyone I've heard say anything about it is it's bad. So sad.
I got a week free Paramount, and I had it planned. Oh, if this is good, I'll keep watching it.
Yeah, just no good. It's so sad because it just needs the right people, and that's why the Lord of the Rings. I think we talked about it before. The Lord of the Rings films are so good because everyone cared. It was 5 years on the script alone before they even
why is it that was given the time?
It always wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No, because it was weirdly. Who's the director? I keep thinking
Peter Jackson.
It was Peter Jackson. Yes. I had someone else in my head for some reason. He did the script, you're right? Yeah. He wrote it all out. And then he went to Harvey Weinstein, of all people. I tell you, it's so bizarre how this works. And said, this needs to be 3 films. And Harvey Weinstein was like, no, it's 1 film. You get 1 film. And Percy Jackson was like, no. Percy Jackson?
Peter
Jackson. Percy Jackson's the
fictional character.
He's the fictional character from that Gods thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Peter Jackson said, no, this needs to be 3.
Yeah.
He really pushed that. And I think that passion and the fact that he cared.
Yeah.
Because if it was a direct, it could have gone the other way around where Harvey Weinstein is, turn this IP into a film.
Yeah.
Off you go. And it would, be shit.
But then why were the Hobbit films so bad?
Because it probably was. They were successful.
Because Peter Jackson wasn't originally the driving force behind it.
Yeah.
They wanted to make another one. They had a different director on.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it was
Gil. I think it was Gilmore. Somebody else. I don't want to say Del Toro, the guy behind Hellboy and other films. I don't want to swear on that, but the point is that that fell through. Whoever it was, the director fell through, and they were desperate to get somebody to come in and do it. So they got Peter Jackson involved properly. So he was in control. But the budget's been set, the timeline's been set.
It wasn't his passion project.
And
it's not his passion project. I think the things that I think the Harry Potter the movies.
Yeah.
I think they start in that very same milk of someone said let's make something magical, and everyone cared. And I think it wasn't here's another production. Here we go. It was everyone being like, let's make this bloody great. And I think when that happens, and it does happen rarely, but when it happens, you get really good stuff out of it.
Yeah.
And everyone's got, because everyone lifts each other to that standard, right? If you've got someone who's really passionate about something in life, then everyone around them kind of goes, yeah, they are passionate. And like, yeah,
we can do this.
This is what it also makes the thing they're doing important. When you have someone who's not even in charge, but someone who's maybe in a level of authority, he's like, this is really important. We should really get this right. It doesn't even have to be important. It's just like, I think this is important and it should be right. Then everyone around them gets this kind of like pride in their work, right? Of like, this, you're right, this is important. We should try really hard. And actually, they try that a little bit more and it makes it a little better. And then you get something great at the end and everyone's proud of it. And I think very few series do that. But when they do, it really pops off and it's so obvious.
Yeah.
That was my point.
That was your point. No, that's that. And again, I think that was behind the Firefly. I think the actors loved the characters. They had brilliant characters to work with. You had the writers that were passionate about
the writers. Do you know if the writers went to the production team first, or was it production team to?
I think it was that thing of Josh Whedon off the back of his
other
stuff. He's like, I want to do this thing. He came up with the idea. It was originally going to be his original idea was, I think, to have a series set after the American Civil War, and it was a Western, and it was kind of like these people that had been on the losing side of a battle, of a war. Yeah, and them trying to find their place in society, and then it became a sci-fi thing. Yeah, and then it became
but I think the creatives need to be in charge of those kind of initial decisions. When I think when the producers and the bigwigs,
because usually when a producer or bigwig's taking something, they're taking somebody else's idea from a different media.
Well, so I think because they're in charge, they like to get involved and boss things around sometimes. And I think that really ruins it. I think that's what gets the thing to not work very well is when the people who actually shouldn't be making the decisions start making the decisions because they're in charge with air quotations. They're not in charge. If you're bankrolling it. I don't think that means you're in charge. I think that just means you're bankrolling it.
Yeah. Then you're holding the purse strings.
But I think that's but I think that's the frustration.
And they've got an idea of what they want to do. They want to have some creative input.
And they want to be safe with their money. So we've got a focus group involved.
But sometimes you have it. It's not even about this. Getting a focus group. Sometimes it's like, well, I've got an idea. I've got a creative. I want to be involved, and I want it to be me that's had an input into it. That.
So I feel like a creative, but that's not your. You got here by being an executive, right?
You got there by being the money person.
Yeah. You sit in office rooms all day and don't really think about creative things. We're being so rantful here. I fully agree. I think the woes of the world.
Well, to wrap up Serenity as a whole, then it's just a passionate. It's my passion for it. It feels like a passion built by people with passion for it, and that shows, and it makes me. Even now I'm thinking, I'll have to sit and watch it again now. I'm going to have to watch it again because I just enjoy it. There's a couple of series that, for me, is just a mug of hot chocolate. Just
so good.
Serenity, Firefly, and something like Red Dwarf. I know that's a more early Red Dwarf, but I wanted to be on that ship. I was younger at the time but it just seemed like a cool thing to hang out with the boys from the Dwarf, Anyway,
it's good.
So much
that.
potential.
I enjoyed
the we didn't get.
I say this at the end of every episode. I will try and continue watching it. There are things I haven't continued watching, but I think it's like Jess was on the sofa with me watching it, and I think she enjoyed it, so I think we'll continue it. Yeah, in that vein.
And it's small and it's contained, and you've got a movie to watch at the end to
wrap things up.
I
might come on in like 3 episodes time and rant about like it's not over, it needs more. I'm sure I will.
Be a brown coat.
Okay,
that was the fan group called themselves Brown Coat because the alliance. Sorry, the independent army soldiers. They would call themselves the Brown Coats because they wore brown coats.
Shit, really.
And that became the fan base trying to fight. And that was an interesting thing at the time. Is that it was one of the early fan bases that were working with the internet to try and
do something.
Get it back on air.
Fair enough.
So Drew.
Yes.
Next week,
well, I want to talk about, just because I've been doing a lot of it, I think I want to talk about 3D printing in a hobbyist capacity. It's something I do a lot of. I enjoy doing 3D printing. I think it's got loads of facets, as does every hobby, I think. And I just want to talk about maybe where to start, maybe what to look at, what things you might do. I know that one of your sons has a 3D printer.
Yes.
And he does something, I'm sure he does something very vastly different to what I do with my 3D printers.
Mostly Nerf gun components.
Well, I think it's a hobby. It's still part of the hobby, you know,
Yeah.
and he's designing things, I've been told by you.
Yeah.
But I think I just want to talk about, where to start maybe, what to look at, here's a few things, blah, 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 blah. Someone, if someone wants to start in 3D printing has no idea, maybe some ideas, maybe you don't know what it can do, what it's capable of, some of the caveats, the potholes, and just some general stuff. So I think I'll probably talk about that next week. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about. I know it's been a very dry week from me, but I think it's been a week about me and not about what I've been watching for me personally. But yeah, I think that's the case.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm going to be watching this week. I'm in a bit of a dry patch at the moment of things that I'm like, oh my God, I've got to get that. One thing I have noticed is that the Star Trek Brave New World, is it?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it too much. Is that the film or is that the new show where they've got the ship that does the funny thing?
No, that's Discovery, but it's the one, this is Captain Pike Adventures on the Enterprise.
Okay, yeah.
So this is before Kirk became captain of the Enterprise. So it's I think it's the same timeline, I think, as Discovery. I'm lost, to be honest.
No, I'm lost.
You've got the Kelvin timeline, you got the thing. So, but it's on Paramount normally, but ITVX have got it, so I might tune into that.
Okay, fair enough.
See what I think of that.
I mean, in terms of this week, hopefully I'll get some board games in. I was going to play Nemesis with some friends, which is kind of like Alien, the board game, where you wake up from cryostasis in your ship, and there's some aliens scuttling about, and you have to figure out if you're going back to Earth or if you need to escape your ship because it's about to self-destruct. All this kind of stuff. It's really good. It feels like every Alien film is good. We've played it a few times. We always get the rules wrong, but it feels like Alien in the fact that the ship is not on fire, it is not destroyed, it might be going in the right direction when you start, and by the end of the game half the thing's on fire, the engines might still be working, you might be going to Mars, the self-destruct sequence might have started, you have no idea what doors open and close, the vents might be turning on, the fire extinguisher system may not be working,
anything can happen.
And the Queen is knocking about this ship somewhere. By the end of it, you're like, how did we get to this mess? And it very quick does that thing in Alien films, very quickly ramps up, and you're like, how did it go wrong so quickly?
Next thing you know, you're evacuating, trying to find the nearest escape pod.
Yeah. It always starts with should that red LED be flashing? What does that mean? What does that? Just get the book. Oh, it means when the doors doesn't work, and then cut to 20 minutes later when the whole ship's burning down. It really emulates that. And I bought for my friend. It was his 30th. I bought the expansion to that, where you then come in as the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
So you play the whole thing, and then whatever happens to the ship, you then turn up as the cleanup crew and then sort out whatever happened on the ship, basically. And it's a real fun, silly game, and we do a lot of role playing with it. I'm always the engineer, so my job always is to go check if the engines are working. I always everyone else is going to the cockpit. I'm always going to the engines, and they're just drizz off the engines immediately. Gonna weld them back together. It's a good game, so hopefully I can do that. I've got ISS Vanguard, which hopefully I can get to play. Funny enough, it's a story-driven, so it's a legacy game, which means each time you play on from the next round.
Yeah.
And it's a spaceship discovery board game, where you're the first ship to enter a new solar system from Earth, and you get to discover some planets, and you do some science and stuff. It's a board game, legacy board game. As you upgrade your ship, as you change your ship, as your ship gets damaged, that goes through the whole board game. Hopefully I can get to that. And then I was going to do on the Sunday a Twilight Imperium, but I don't think that's happening now.
Yeah.
Like I said, will we fuck? We're never going to get... Like I said, we're we'll definitely do it every month. Yeah. Sure. But yes, that's my week, hopefully. Well, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I know it's been a bit of a weird conversation to have been all over the place, but I think I'm getting back into myself, perhaps.
Good.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. No, thank you, Drew.
Bye.
Bye. Toodle pip, everyone. We ready to go?
Yeah, I think we are ready to go, actually.
Ready to go. Excellent. Hello, Drew. How are you? What do you know?